A lot of people think that the event should have just been called off altogether, and I've got mixed feelings about it, right? Because on paper, or not on paper even, like when you look at it initially, that does seem like the right thing to do. And I'm not even saying that it's maybe it is. I don't know, but if you put stringent testing in place, right? And you make sure that you follow all the guidelines and every fighter is tested and everybody that's going to be going into the facility and participating in the event gets testing and has it, and you can confirm that nobody has it, right? In theory, that should mean that the disease shouldn't be able to spread, right? If nobody has it, I'm assuming, right? I mean, I know that you can spread it without having symptoms or whatever, but if you are officially tested and don't have it, the event should be okay to move forward. And fighting is one of those things where it's not like you only need 2 of them. You only need 2 guys to go at it. It's not like it's not like basketball even where it's 5-on-5, you know what I mean? Or football where it's 11-on-11. You just need 2 guys. And really, I mean, I know they've got a team of cornermen, but if you wanted to be extreme about it, just put a lead corner guy out there and let him take care of it and a cut man, right? You're going to need a cut man. But, I mean, I feel like, and they also go back to their respective corners, right? Like, so there's going to be distance between the corners. And I feel like fighting's one of the sports where you kind of can make it happen. Like, if you really do abide by everything, you might be able to pull this thing off. The question is still, like, the travel. You would have to, like, I wonder if they're going to have to pick these fighters up on, like, a private jet because there's no way they're going to be able to fly public, right? Like, no fucking way. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to go on for transportation for them. Man, it's crazy. I like when you start thinking about stuff like that, you realize how much the UFC must be scrambling, right? But before we get into, I don't want to go down the moral hole of whether this fight should be happening too much, but I also think just one thing to consider, because I'm kind of on the fence about it too, right? Like, because I'm aware that this disease is dangerous, and I'm aware that, like, even if you take all the necessary precautions, you could still slip up somehow, right? Like, maybe somebody that's been there actually has been in contact with someone and blah, blah, blah. I don't fucking know, right? I don't know what the answer is. But you've got to think that fighting is different from other sports too, and that, like, when people sign contracts in the NFL, I mean, they get paid to play a season. Fighters aren't even guaranteed, with you factor in injuries and everything else, they're not even guaranteed to fight once every year. I mean, don't get me wrong, and I would say the average fight for a professional fight, like in the UFC level or like a Bellator level, is probably like 3 to 4 times a year. You get some that are way more active than that, some that are less active than that, some due to injury, some due to visa issues, blah, 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 right? But the point is that, like, it's hard to, and it's hard sometimes, and not only is it hard to get fights booked, but it's really fucking hard to win at this level. And you don't get paid a lot. I mean, I might be misremembering this, but I think that I saw one time that TJ Dillashaw at UFC 200 got paid $25,000 to show and $25,000 to win. TJ Dillashaw. I mean, regardless of his steroid use, one of the most elite, that always just stuck out to me. And if I'm wrong on that, please correct me. And I know they get sponsorship money, et cetera, right? But my point is that these fighters, they're not guaranteed a 16-game schedule where, unless they get injured, they're guaranteed to play. You know what I mean? It's not like that. Your opponent, there's so many more variables in MMA, so you got to take what you can get. You're paying nutritionists, you're paying camps. I mean, it's a lot. They're probably stressing about shit, man. They don't make a ton of money. And this isn't so much, when you guys are thinking about this, don't think so much about the guys at the top where you're like, oh, they're fine. Tony Ferguson's probably fine. Justin Gaethje's probably fine. They got money. Yeah, but the guys towards the bottom that are going to be on the prelims and that are going to be, you know, putting on a show in a fanless arena, you know, they're not going to make a ton of money. So they need this, you know what I mean? So it's a complicated situation. If you're the UFC, like you've got this moral conundrum where you've got this virus and you maybe shouldn't be doing live events, but you've also got these fighters and they got to feed their families. They do this for a living, man. I don't think you can be successful at the UFC level if you don't have your life committed to it. Like, you got to almost quit your day job to be successful in the UFC anymore. It's just so high level. So they're putting their lives into this. And the only way they have to get paid, it's not like they can just be like, oh, I'm going to, you know, not all these guys can just be like, oh, I'm going to fall back on my bachelor's degree and go back and just get a job in the public sector and help out until this is all over and then I'll go back to fighting. Like, no, that's not how it works for these guys, man. A lot of these put everything they had into it. So, you know, it's those guys that you got to think about, those guys on the undercard that are trying to make their name. I'm just saying, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind when you're thinking about all this, because they're stressed as fuck trying to pay their bills, whatever, trying to make it, trying to prove that they're the best in the world. You know, it's the little guys you got to worry about.